the issues with the power plants in right now.
Yeah.
In general, what was your outlook before all of this happened for Japan, for economic growth, and what is your outlook now?
Yes, so it happened on March 11th, a big earthquake and tsunami hit Japan, the east coast of Japan, and the nuclear power plant shut down as scheduled when the earthquake hit. The problem of the tsunami destroyed the emergency generator and the power supply, and the cooling failed. So that was the start of the problem. So before this March 11th, the Japanese economy was recovering nicely, and we had a good prospect of moderate but steady recovery. After this earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear power plant happened, we have to think into different questions, and one is the earthquake and tsunami. And we know the destruction was costly, and we really are sorry for those victims of the tsunami. However, as pure economics goes, that those reconstruction from the loss of assets, productive assets and agricultural land and so on, will be a investment boom. So in terms of the GDP growth rate, it is moderately positive next year from this destruction of assets. However, the second problem, this nuclear thing, is still going on, and we have hopefully stabilized the nuclear core by pumping in the water, but those waters we suspect leaking to the ground and ocean, so the radioactive materials are spreading, and we don't know how long this will go on, how much damage it will cause, both actual and reputational. So I'm moderately pessimistic now about the growth prospect because of these uncertainties and damages from the nuclear plant.
Can you quantify that for me?
No, it's very hard. It's still ongoing, and we will not have the estimates for another couple of months, I think.
Does that mean contraction is a possibility?
Contraction is a possibility because of the power supply is now in the shortage. So the productions are affected in this area, a typical area. So I suspect the companies are moving out from that area to some other parts of Japan, but also to abroad. So those components production and parts productions will move out from the area. And tourists are hugely down, and we are experiencing the international students are not coming back to the campus. So there are a lot of and the conventions, all the conventions are canceled. So got to be negative.
If you had to place a bet right now on it, what is the likelihood that there will be a contraction? What's the probability of that?
Contraction this quarter, certainly, and contraction next quarter will depend on how quickly we can contain this nuclear problem.
So we could have another recession?
Yes. That's a definite possibility.
And what would prevent Japan? What would it take? I mean, is that, if you had to guess right now, is a recession more likely than any other scenario in Japan?
Well, recession because of this huge nuclear problem. But I think, if we can contain it in a few months, then I think the recovery will be also strong. Mm-hmm. So recession, hopefully temporary.
Hopefully temporary, a couple of quarters. But any way you can quantify the probability of a recession?
I think the probability of recession will be 80%. But how deep it will be, how prolonged it will be, is we don't know.
And that simply depends on the issue of how quickly the power problem can be resolved.
Yes.
So what if there are power cuts, let's say, next summer in Japan?
Well, this summer, I think it is already predicted that the power shortage will be there. So government has to plan ahead on how to curtail demand and how to increase supply. And curtailing demand is cooperation from the large consumers of the power, and also vast majority of the small users of the power to save, conserve, and maybe long vacations, during the summer.
But if there were still power cuts, if that was still an issue, say, a year from now, what would that mean for growth?
No, I don't think it'll last a year. I think that something will be found within several months.
Do you think that markets understand the situation accurately? Are they overstating the problem, overestimating the problem in Japan, or underestimating?
I think that both the public and the market are quite calm and not overreacting to the situation, except a few glitches, here and there, like yen appreciation a few days ago. That was, I thought, overreaction for the rumor of the repatriation of foreign assets. And bond market has been very calm, and the stock market overreacted for a day or two, but recovered very quickly. So I think overall, public and markets are reacting very calmly.
What is fair value for the yen?
Well, it depends on, again, how this crisis will turn out. But before this crisis came, I thought the level of 80 to 85 were fair value and now I think probably yen should depreciate a little bit, because I think there's less demand for the foreign assets. There is no need for repatriation, but flows out of Japan may be less.
Do you think that the stock market, the levels right now, are appropriate?
No, I think it's very difficult to say what is appropriate, right? Because of this ongoing things and so on. I'd say the sharp decline was overreaction and came back a little bit. So I think they tried to find where the equilibrium should be, and
But they're not irrational about it yet.
I don't think so.
Gotcha. To what extent is this a uniquely Japanese problem, or to what extent is this a problem for growth in other countries than Japan? And if it is, what countries are we talking about?
Well, I think this whole thing put a question on the safety of the nuclear power plants, and I think the industry has to find ways to assure the public that this was isolated incidents and other power plants are safe, or safety margins are so huge that they can keep operating it. So it's up to the industry and the governments.
But you see, are you saying that if governments decide not to develop nuclear power because of what has happened in Japan, then that could have a negative effect on their growth? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but this power plant is very old. It's called Mark I of the GE nuclear plants. And I think the industry can find a way to persuade the public that this was a problem by design, and they can fix it. They have fixed it, or they can fix it for the other power plants.
We appear to be getting a nice little recovery in terms of economic growth, in terms of job recovery, in terms of consumer comfort in the United States. Do you see what's happened in Japan? How do you see the impact of
I don't think that this will spill over to other countries.